So a small update on the uncapping mechanic. I'm only gonna say two things, because I hate that I have to talk about it in this video, because to be honest, I could spend the entirety of this video really talking about that, with just how this game is, and with not just the story relating to the break-ins and how with the G universe, you know, it's all it really is up to the player to determine how you want to play this game. You know, even with the suits, you know, I play it this way, but that's just because I'm trying to kind of continue with something that I found in this game, kind of with the beam sabers, and that's how I wanted to play it. But you really could go about doing everything that I did with, you know, different suits and really tell your own story. But you know, for the sake of this video and mainly to get to the new Gundam and the missions that I play with it, I'll say two things. One, the soft cap is level 15, and from there, you can, you'll need to unlock, you'll need to eventually uncap a suit if you want to beat this game. So the first thing I'll say is the soft cap is level 15, meaning as soon as you unlock any suit in this game, it'll be at level 1 until you choose to upgrade it with just standard capital until you get to level 15, at which point you'll have to use capital in addition to class specific resources. So there's the end fighters, the sharpshooters, and the all-rounders, and you'll get, you know, one of the three, either first level uncapping resources, second, third, fourth, fifth, you know, all depending on what level your player is. And your player level is the level that the highest level that you'll be able to level up your Gundam until you get to level 100. I beat the game on level 88, so that's, even with that, I haven't unlocked, like, you know, the high enough level uncapping resources to get the command Gundam past level 80, which is the Gundam that I used to ultimately beat this game. But so the soft cap is level 15, and you're gonna have to unlock a suit if you intend on beating this game. I think it's safe to say that the post game starts about probably like halfway through Directory 5. When you hit that mark, I think you're gonna have to start thinking about, like, you know, how you want to play and head into Directory 6 and ultimately Directory 7. I do want to get to, you know, kind of talking about the new Gundam and some of the missions that I chose to play. I will say this, I recommend, I talked about this I think in the last video a little bit, I do recommend playing this game at your own pace. There's obviously like established websites that'll help you with the blueprints, although it's really good with that in game. And there's even like Forbes articles that talk about how you can potentially get some of the what I think they're referring to are some of the like final level uncapping resources that'll ultimately get you to level 100 and really beat some of the missions that I had to struggle through in order to get, not just beat the game, but get the blueprints needed for the Gather Road and the Gundam Latrea. But you know, I really had to try like incredibly hard, and Um, Again, the command Gundam's at level 80 and my player level is at level 88, but I would recommend, like, I think the Forbes article kind of echoed the same thing that I'm saying, essentially, that, you know, you can replay whatever, even in-game missions on hard, you know, at the kind of level that I'm at. I don't think they go into that kind of depth in the Forbes article, but what they did say in reference, which I thought was pretty helpful, is that obviously some of the in-game replaying the game in its entirety and hard will get you all the resources, apparently, that you can get to level 100 a lot easier that way, without kind of doing what I did, which is like pick and choosing some of the in-game missions to replay on hard after beating the game on normal, which that's how you unlock hard mode, is beating it on normal. But I wouldn't. Again, that was incredibly stressful for me, just, you know, as a player. And I think I talked about this at the beginning of the at the end of the very first mission that I played in the last video that I uploaded. I highly recommend playing this game. You know, in a perfect world, I would have played it at a much slower pace, maybe taken the Gundam I believe you play with in the tutorial. I'm not sure if it's called like the RGM 79. You know, it's an all-arounder suit. I think the first one you can play with. Ideally, I would have taken that, or like the Easy 8, into replaying the game on hard in its entirety and beating the game in a lot easier. It would have taken a lot more time, and that's time I would have been willing to spend. But for the sake of even making like a video like this, I couldn't play it that way. But I would recommend just like taking your time with it and playing it that way, because it'll be a more enjoyable experience, and you won't. I think it was meant to be played that way. You can do what I did, and I'm sure even doing it the way I did at a much kind of slower pace would have been less stressful. But you know, nonetheless, I think that's where I'm going to leave it at. I mean, again, I could talk about this all day, but the soft cap's level 15, and then, you know, if you intend on beating this game, about halfway through Directory 5 is when you're probably going to have to start making a choice on, you know, how you spend your capital. But this game is so fun, like, you know, it wouldn't be hard to kind of replay some of the missions, even with suits like the Barbados or something, just to, you know, get more stuff to level up. But so that's where I kind of leave it at. I don't even know if I finished that thought off without kind of losing my train of thought in the song rather than I just listened to it back in my own head. But the new Gundam, it was pretty fun unlocking this suit. There's an optional boss in a mission that I play in the next video that I make, where there's an enemy who, if you enter this optional area, will drop, has a chance to drop one of the final new Gundam blueprints, which made this unlocking the suit kind of interesting, because I think out of all the directories, there's a lot of optional bosses, but to unlock this suit, it was something that you had to do, and I thought it was pretty unique. And it's I'm running this at level 1, mainly to, if I were to run it at anything higher, so, you know, all the missions that I do in this video excuse me, are like incredibly low levels. So for the sake of showing off the suit and its moveset, I decided to run it at level 1. And it's level 1 now in my game. Like, I don't have any, I mean, you know, I would probably level up other suits if I intended on beating ladder missions on higher difficulties, which I have no intention of really doing right now. Probably, if I were to level up a Gundam, it would probably at this point in time be for like online play, or just replaying certain missions that I personally like on like chaos difficulty, which I think they require like keys if you want to do them at your at your own time, because I think chaos missions are like timed events in this game, so you can't really pick and choose unless you choose those spin revision keys that you get throughout the course of in-game missions on specific chaos missions. But that would be the only reason I would level up this suit, for the sake of just showing off the new Gundam. I ran all these missions that you're seeing today at level 1, and it really ended up scaling kind of beautifully. I thought the missions went really well. The first 2 missions I do today, I think they're the only missions in the game. Well, it's kind of hard to say that, because some missions I feel like you could say you're just coming from a different spot, or it might appear that way, and for the sake of storytelling, you might be able to say that they take place in or at or around like the same place, like but I think it's safe to say that a future reward in Tekadon, which is the mission I think I'm doing now, literally take place. Like, you follow the exact same route. It's just different enemies that'll spawn, and obviously different bosses, but they're both relatively short. They're both early missions that you play at the beginning of the game, and I'm pretty sure that they're like the only 2 missions that you can definitively say in this game are just identical, minus the boss and the enemies that you'll see throughout the course of those 2 missions. But the new Gundam, though, I will say, in comparison to the first 2 suits, its sword, it might be harder to tell in these videos that I make, but playing it, it was really pretty clear that its sword is very reminiscent to the Easy 8 Saber, meaning it appears to almost be flowing into the hilt of the beam saber, as opposed to flowing outward from the beam saber, kind of like what you see from the RX-78-2 and some of the other Gundams, really, that have sabers, period. I think the Easy 8, is safe to say, is probably the only suit in this game whose saber appears to, if not be, that might be a stretch, the fact that it's like pulsing into itself, but if it is pulsing outward in the same way as the RX-78-2's, it's just clearly more jello-y and obviously a brighter pink, but it seems to share that same kind of jello-y effect. It's almost like a fusion between the Easy 8 Saber and the RX-78-2's. It shares the RX-72 shape, but it's clearly light pink like the Easy 8 in my opinion, and appears to share some of that jello-y aspect. It's got a very fluid moveset, similar to the Easy 8's. I think you could probably classify it as what some characters in this game refer to as a new type Gundam, but it's still really fun to play with. In all my videos, I never really took advantage of the forward triangle. The only time I used triangle was to launch enemies into the air in the Easy 8 video, but it's a command that you can do in this game when you're fighting, and I think for most Gundams it'll launch enemies into the air if you hold it, but if you press like forward triangle and if you press forward in triangle and then backwards in triangle, there's a different move that your Gundam will do, and I don't think I've done it in any of the videos that I've uploaded, and I really don't have a problem with that. But to give you an example, like the Easy 8, you hold triangle, he'll launch enemies into the air like all Gundam suits will do on that, or the all-rounders at least will do. But if you were to press forward triangle and not hold it, and the same thing with backwards, like when you're using the Easy 8 and you press forward triangle, what does he do? He I think if there's a distance between you and your target, I think if you press forward triangle and you're not like inherently close to your target, he'll just like, you know, charge towards the enemy and ultimately hit them upwards with his shield. But if you press backwards triangle, I know he'll take his RPG and he'll whip it around as he's lunging towards you in the air, and he'll slam like the hilt on you, and it'll clearly break. And that's a mechanic. I think with this one, I haven't done it, but I've seen when I was playing as the Gather Road in a mission. I brought this suit along as a partner, and he like did like a spiraling kind of, clearly like flying towards the enemy and just doing like one, you know, kind of similar to what you saw right there, but essentially while flying towards the enemy. I think that's what his backwards triangle would do. I don't even throw an enemy to the air the whole time I use this suit, mainly because his moveset is so different from all the RX-78 too, but very similar to the Easy 8 in that they're slower and almost like elegant, really. Plus it was fun to kick some of the enemies in the face. I thought that was a really also kind of like a reflection of the Easy 8 in this suit. But the first two missions are identical, you know, save for the enemies and the boss. I hate that I wasn't able to talk about the first boss that you saw, because there's a point in the fight that this upcoming boss, I don't think, I mean, it played out perfect, really, except I die a couple times, but other than that, it played out kind of how you expect, which I hate to say because I didn't expect it to turn out the way it did, and I thought it turned out perfect, if that makes sense. But the boss in the very first mission, a future reward, I believe his name is Zex. I don't know the Wing Gundam lore, but he's using an Epyon suit, and I think in the anime he pilots the Wing Gundam. I think that's the generation he's from, but he has like a metal helmet on. It's like very Final Fantasy-esque, and but he's clearly using an Epyon suit, which for the sake of this video I thought was pretty cool for the story, because with the way the breaks are, it's almost as if you're meeting up with him, but he's got his own agenda, or it's clearly coming from a different time, which probably makes more sense given, you know, the break-ins in this game. But you know, he had a very short boss fight, but even with him kind of tossing his chain on the ground and him using an enemy suit presumably to what's a good analogy, like kill two birds with one stone in his eyes. I thought it was pretty cool. The second boss, actually a version, or if not the same Gundam that you saw, the Gray's Iron, will reappear in the last mission that I play. This boss, I think his name is Revival. He'll actually make an appearance in the Gundam Latreia video. He's a boss in that video as well. And in the later directories, I think he's a higher level clearly, but this mission still blew my mind, kind of like all the other ones did after I really got to play them. Probably more carefully than I did. Obviously, the first time I played it, as I was discovering / post-discovered the whole way the beam sabers work, but still, just all the missions in this game, I felt came out. It couldn't have come out any better. I hate to say that because I don't want to make it sound like it's me, because it's not. I'm really just, even in this video, I'm just trying to showcase the new Gundam, not just with the beam saber build, but just as a suit, and just kind of give some insight into some of the missions themselves. I didn't think I was actually going to make this video, and hopefully the next 2 videos that I'll get to make also, because after beating the game, like I said in the RX-782 video, I didn't know if I was going to even make it to Directory 3 after unlocking the RX-782, because it's not that I didn't have the time to play the game, but a game like this, you don't just need time, but you have to give it like a certain level of attention that thankfully I was able to give it when I first picked it up, in order to notice something like the beam sabers changing with what chips that I had equipped. It takes it's not, I'm not trying to put myself on like a any kind of I'm not trying to sound like it just takes a certain level of not just time playing the game, but kind of level of concentration and care, as silly as that sounds. After playing the game, it was replaying the Shuddering Mountain over and over again, going back and fighting Gundam Latreia in the G universe, and seeing there's a moveset in his moveset that he has when you're fighting the boss version of Gundam Latreia, which is different than the version that you get to pilot. The boss that you fight in the game has an entirely different moveset. Its attacking animation is a little bit longer. I think it's probably about 2 moves longer, 2 sword swings longer. And the spinning move that you do when you hold down square with the Gather Road and the Gundam Latreia, where they'll both kind of exude what appears to be like a beam saber shaped rose as they're spinning around. With the Gundam Latreia, he's got a beam saber that kind of looks like the RX-782's, and in his left hand, I believe, and in his right hand, he's got a beam axe. The beam axe is, well, maybe I'll go more depth into that, in the next video. But with respect to the spinning move that they both share, the Gather Road Latreia, that is, the boss version of that Gundam Latreia, when you're fighting him, does that same move that the Gather Road and Latreia can do when you're the player, when you're piloting those Gundams after you unlock those suits. That same move that boss version of Gundam Latreia has, but he's not spinning. He just it's almost as if he bows to you, and as he's doing it, that beam saber energy that'll happen when you pilot the Gather Road and Gundam Latreia holding down square, he does that without spinning. And so it was like playing against him over and over again, because it was fun. because his moveset kind of cemented what I was seeing with the chips I was equipping as I was playing the Shuddering Mountain over and over again. It was those things. It was noticing those things that led to the beam saber thing kind of becoming real for me, and I was able to pick up on that obviously because I had time to play the game, but give it a level of attention that requires time, and also kind of like a frame of mind that you have to approach it with, as you're playing it, really. Probably the best way to describe it. So, with all that said, after I made the RX-78-2, I had no idea. I was going to put the game down and let that be it. But because I had a little bit of time here and there, I decided to at least give unlocking some of the in-game Gundam suits a shot. And because the in-game is as hard as it is, if you're the level I was at when I played it, it really kind of was like adding insult to injury in that, making the videos that I'm ultimately making now becoming real, like a reality. Like I was like, finding the time and really the energy to play these the way they probably should be played. I was like, that in conjunction with the fact that like the end game just seemed more and more unreal given the way that I was trying to go about playing it. With the time I had, I was like, I was pretty much like, all right, well, you know what, like it's the RX-782 is going to be it. This is after I made the last video, but before this, obviously, I was kind of juggling my time, and if I had the kind of energy to play this the way I wanted to and unlock these suits, really just period. And it started with me unlocking this suit. I was like, I unlocked this one, and after I did it, I was so kind of really kind of determined to just like unlock all the other suits that I thought would benefit from the beam saber build. That led to me being able to do it successfully. But I gotta tell you that I really was like thinking like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this, but I'm glad I did, and it really started with this suit. But I don't know, if I were to go back casually in this game and just to play through chaos missions, which with them being timed events, kind of add a certain level of, gives the player a reason to kind of just at least come back in and check on, what's happening in that world. You obviously have to kind of have a desire to play this game, period, for that to be a thing, because you really could go back and replay any chaos mission on hard difficulty, but I'm not too familiar with the rewards from really hard missions, in-game hard missions, and chaos missions, period, to give you any kind of perspective on what the benefit of doing chaos missions are in contrast to hard missions. I don't know like what you get from them to be able to expand on that any further, but I will say, like, the new Gundam, I don't know if I would probably like, if I were to just replay this game in my free time, I probably would. I'm talking just like straight directory DLC missions. I would probably well, I'll probably play the Command Gundam or the RGM-79, because they're both, the Command Gundam is my highest level Gundam period, and the RGM-79, if that's what it's called, is my highest all-arounder, and he's not even past level 50, I think. But if I were to invest like the capital, say I had it, into a Gundam just to play all these missions on with, it would probably just be really any suit that I've uploaded and plan to upload. I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe a better way to word it would be like if I were to go online and play this game, I would probably take like the Easy 8 or probably actually this suit. I don't know. All the suits really. I like them all equally. And I hate to talk about the game in this way because there's still suits that I haven't unlocked that I kind of want to unlock, like the C Gundam or She Gundam. You know, C. It's hard to. I don't know. I haven't played that mission, and the one time I played it, I didn't even make it past like the first or the second boss. So I can't really, you know, I don't know how they pronounce it in the game, but that Gundam I still haven't unlocked yet, and I think although it has a green colored saber, I think I'm convinced, especially with other videos I've seen on YouTube, that the beam saber chip applies to that Gundam as well. I haven't unlocked that and I still want to, and I think there's like a couple you know, char suits, like the Gelgoog. I haven't unlocked that I want to unlock, and so I don't know. I guess, I mean, this is weird because like out of all the suits or the next 3 videos I'm gonna upload, this suit is kind of the outlier. Not in just how you had to unlock it, but the missions that I'm playing, and with it being level 1, I mean, it's got a really cool R1 with the kind of homing feathers that come off and shoot lasers at whatever you're targeted on, but it's definitely different, and I think, you know, even the new Gundam coming out, when you're playing through the story and like the last part of the final directories, it's definitely that, you know, outlier. But there's still things in this game that I haven't done and want to do, and you know, like I always say, I still might get to them. I really want to unlock the C Gundam, C. And I've liked the video where that Gundam makes an appearance with what I'm convinced is the beam saber build on it. I think they pronounce it C. So that's what I'm gonna say. I want to unlock that. I'm gonna want to go back and play some of the Chaos missions, but don't know if I'll be bringing the new Gundam along. But you know, still really fun. What I will say, out of the next 3 Gundams I'm gonna make, or videos I'm gonna make, like, this suit is not my favorite, but it's still, you know, with it, yeah, it still is definitely a unique Gundam. Excuse me, like, it's, with not just its design, but with his beam saber, it's definitely safe to say I think it's an outlier. But yeah, I mean, nothing I say in these videos are facts. They're just things that I've picked up on that I feel like I want to share. Even, you know, just if there's not people out there who believe me, like in the C Gundam video, when it's fighting, it clearly has beam energy coming out of the bottom part of where the hilt of the beam saber is. So like that's a perfect example of how not every Gundam is the same. I'm not saying that there's people out there who probably don't believe what I'm saying about this Gundam saber shape relative to other Gundams, but there are subtle differences out there that are clear to see when you play this game this way. But this is kind of going for full circle back to the whole uncapping mechanic, and kind of why I was wanted to stay away from that really, because even when I made the first beam saber build, with the way I ended that video, I did that. I'm not sure if you can even hear that video. I mean, like I was incredibly sick at the time I made that, and the audio on some of these uploads that aren't videos of me just playing a Nintendo DS and filming it on my cell phone, like, are probably not the best. I'm not filming with like a nice microphone, but well, the microphone I'm using is nice enough to use, obviously, but there's better microphones out there. It might be hard to hear me, but with what I said at the end of that video, I kind of meant it. Like, I wanted to share what I discovered, but I didn't want people who had made other videos in this game to be offended. Not that they were, that I would post something like that. I'm hoping, and I'm sure that, hoping that everyone, found it interesting. But even with the way that the uncapping mechanic works, like, there are suits and parts that help you get through this game. More optimal, more I don't know, is optimally a word? I don't know, like, there's just more efficient ways to go about doing things than going through it with a beam saber that's pulsing in a different way, And so when people are making videos that are feature chips that clearly are just more DPS efficient, that's totally, I think that's probably the way it should be, and people should, it's fun to see those things, and, just learn from that if that's how you want to play this game. I just, the game kind of froze up here after the fact, when I was going back and watching this video. I don't know if that was intentional or something unique to this mission, but it's it's all relative, and when I said part about, what did I say in that video? I think I said it was, I don't know, I guess, I don't remember what I said. I'm trying to remember it. There's something else I want to get to before this video ends, which is why I kind of lost my train of thought about remembering what I said, but I was just trying to say, like, there's just different, there's nothing wrong with going for more DPS, and actually that's what I had to do with the command Gundam to unlock Gundam Maitreya. So, like, it's all, you have to just play the game for yourself, and that's why I wanted to leave it at, the soft cap's level 15, and you're gonna have to unlock a suit if you want to beat the game. And the post game, I think your journey into the post game will start about midway through Directory 5. That's kind of all I want to say on that uncapping mechanic. And You know, take what you want from that, and yeah, play the game how you want to. One thing I want to touch on that I didn't realize I had skipped because I was just talking about other things. Two Gundams I brought along in the missions with me, I think throughout the course of this whole video, were the sharpshooting Gundam that you can have Shiro Amada pilot as a partner, and the Julia Regan Lay's final battle that you can have, I forgot her name, but this lady right here, full pilot. I chose them for obvious reasons. Maybe go back and kind of watch, you know, the video from the beginning. The Julia Regan Lays does a really pretty after effect when the Epion Gundam attacks in the second mission I played in this video, but there's definitely a you know, a story to be told with this suit and some of the missions that are available to play with, and I hope people can kind of, I hate to say put two and two together, because I can play through all the missions I did today with an Epion Gundam, and it might be even more of a story to be told there. But I hope people can kind of maybe see the sharpshooting pilot, sharpshooting Gundam with Shiro and the Julia Regan Lays, and kind of just play with that in the new Gundam space. But I hate I didn't get to use the backwards triangle mechanic in really any of my videos, but it's really cool with this Gundam, and hopefully you get to see it in the next video that I make. But as always, I hope you enjoyed, and looking forward to making the next couple videos.